right. Well, welcome everyone to the Conversation with Healthcare Leaders, which is a podcast where we navigate the intricate and the fascinating world of healthcare. This is a podcast where we shine the spotlight on healthcare leaders who are doing amazing work in their organizations as well as in the community. Physicians, nurses, nurse leaders, all healthcare professionals, we shine the spotlight on them on this podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest, Dr. Goldman, and you're going to hear about him in a few minutes, in a few seconds, I should say. He is an ER physician. He's a MBA. He's a patient experience improvement consultant. He's an assistant medical director. He wears many hats, and he was going to tell you a lot more about himself because he is so powerful and he's so amazing. So, Dr. Kissinger Goldman, it's so nice seeing you again. I think the last time I saw you was many years ago. We worked together in the emergency department at Mount Sinai Medical Center. You were in residency, and I was the director of the ED, as nursing director of the ED. And there's something about you I can say. I did not know you have such passion, for patient satisfaction and patient experience. But the truth about it is I actually saw it in you as a resident
Right.
there many, many years ago. Man, the seed was brewing all the time. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you get into this whole world of speaking and training and writing books on patient communication, patient experience, patient satisfaction.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about that.
First, thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be here. Appreciate the invite. I look forward to our conversation. Hopefully, it's one out of many because this is as you know, a vast topic.
Vast.
And
Yes,
I could
yes.
spend hours talking about this.
Ongoing, never stop. You're right.
So, how did I start in patient experience? Well, when I graduated from Mount Sinai, I got a job at Memorial Hospital West as a frontline provider, as an ER doctor, obviously. Um, and within, I would say, 3 years of me working there, the director of our system asked me whether or not I'd be interested in becoming the director of patient experience for the whole healthcare system, for all of our ERs and our urgent cares. And the reason
Wow.
that he said, that he mentioned, I remember this like yesterday, he said, and he told me this, he said, when I see you interact with patients, I want to be like you. I strive to be like you. And this
Hold on a
is
minute. That is powerful. My God. My,
it is. It's very
that
powerful.
is powerful.
Um,
Yes.
so our local director said the same thing because I have a director at Memorial Hospital West. Our regional director, who oversees all of the ERs in the urgent care, said the same thing as well. And when somebody mentions that statement to you, what are you to say except of course?
Yeah.
Furthermore, I always loved teaching. Um, During residency, I was the teaching resident for 2 years. In college, I minored in education, and at one point, I wanted to become a teacher in college.
Wow.
My family, my dad was a teacher and built a school that is still current in Haiti.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of family in education. So I always love education because I really believe that the way you help somebody is by teaching them,
Teaching
not
them.
by
Yes.
doing the work for them, but let me give you the information that you need so that you
Yes.
can use it and become a better person. So that's how I started, in patient experience many years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I understand that, but you have a passion for this whole thing, but you really have a passion because you don't see many, physicians have this passion that you're going to go all the way to ensure that your patients understand, they're happy, they are engaged. How did you get the passion? Was there like an experience you have with any family member or anything like that?
That's a great question. Uh, I think part of it is my upbringing. I grew up in Haiti. I lived in Haiti for 18 years.
Yeah.
and I saw what the healthcare or lack of healthcare looks like in Haiti. And when I came to the States and I went to the healthcare system in the States, I realized that, yeah, we're privileged.
Yeah.
We're privileged here. Um, Number one. Number two, I also realized early on that, you know, patients are not unlike me, my mom, my brother, my sister,
Hmm.
uh, folks who are looking for answers. They're
Right.
looking for answers in an arena they don't know anything about. I'm going to tell you,
Scary.
my mom has four kids.
Yeah.
Um, my youngest brother, who's an attorney, is the smartest out of all four of us. I will admit it. He's very, very smart.
Okay.
But when he has a medical question, you know who he calls?
Yeah.
Me,
Gonna call you.
because he doesn't know anything about medicine.
Absolutely.
So I use that as a reference because a lot of our patients, a lot of us presume in healthcare that our patients should know this,
Hmm.
should know that. But the truth
Yeah.
is they don't.
They
And
don't know.
it has nothing to do with their level of intelligence. It is because, guess what? It is not what they do. You
It
and
is.
I, we know healthcare. They
Absolutely.
don't know healthcare. So I think that's the starting point when you're
Yeah.
engaging a patient. And that has always been my starting point. Always.
Right.
Whether it was in residency, whether it was for the past 14 years in the Memorial
Hmm.
Healthcare System, it's always my starting point.
Yeah.
I give people the benefit of the doubt, and I presume that, yes, guess what? They're not specialists in medicine like I am.
Right, exactly. I always tell patients, when they consult me and talking to me about going to the physicians, always say, take a notebook, notepad, write down everything that you can write down. And if you have a family member, a friend, of course you're going to ask the physician. But if there's still something that you're not clear on, just ensure that you ask questions because everything is like foreign to a
Mhm.
patient many times.
Absolutely.
So Dr. Goldman, you wrote this book, and I ordered the book. I can't wait to get that book. Wow.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about your book that you wrote on a guide to patient communication.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about it.
I'm going to tell you that it took 6 years to write. let's
Oh my
let's start,
goodness.
let's start there. I started writing it little by little, picking things that I would see in the emergency room that I would read about,
Hmm.
and making and putting it in this little document. 3 years ago, my wife, who's a physician, who's the chief medical informatics officer for our healthcare system, who's also a primary care doctor, she
Yeah.
told me, I'm seeing medical students. Medical students are shadowing me, and honey, they don't know how to interact with patients. So
Wow.
please finish the book.
Yes. Yes. Of
Said,
course.
please finish the book.
Yeah.
Uh, so I started really sitting down and working through the book and writing it down, and also showing it to my wife. My wife is my absolute, I would say, worst and best critic. She is
Yeah.
brutally honest.
Right.
If something's horrible, she says that is horrible.
Yeah.
Do not write
What she says about it?
well, as we were writing, she corrected me. She reviewed the whole thing, and ultimately, before I submitted it to the publisher, she said, "Yes, that is exactly what medical students need, what
Yeah.
nursing students need,
Yeah.
what PA students need, nurse practitioner students,
Right.
doctors who are attendings who've been practicing. That is what they need.
Right.
Doctors
Exactly.
who are being onboarded, right? Doctors that are about to join Memorial, Baptist, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, before they join the healthcare system, they need to go through this, okay?
Wow.
So they can have a clear understanding of the expectations and also have tools. And that's the most important part of the
Mhm.
book. It
Yeah.
gives you techniques, it gives you tools that you can easily apply
Mhm.
when you are engaging a patient, when you are engaging a patient's family. That is what the book is about. And
Oh
the
wow.
book, just to extend my explanation a little further,
Mhm.
is a result of a few things. So part of my job at Memorial uh, is to review every single patient complaint. So When I started as a director of patient experience 10 years ago, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I did before I did anything was I asked Press Ganey, give me all the patient complaints that we've had for the past 5 years.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
And boy, let me tell you, there were a lot of
Were you
negative
shocked?
things that I cannot repeat here.
Oh my, oh my God. Can
Things
you
that
imagine?
are offensive.
Mm.
But you start seeing patterns, right? The
Yeah.
more you read patient complaints, which I've continued doing over the past 10 years, and I also read the positive, of
Mm.
course,
Yeah.
you see patterns, right? You start seeing patterns. So that's what my brain did. It created different patterns that allowed me to create this book and preemptively give doctors, nurses, and what have you
Yeah.
tools that they can use to prevent those complaints as long as those techniques are applied every day, right?
Yep.
As long as there's a process that is created for those doctors or those nurses to go through the training. And
Mm-hmm.
also, there's a remedial process because part of my work at Memorial was to create a remedial process. How? Because people are going to stray, is what I've noticed
Mm-hmm.
over the past 10 years. Not
Yeah.
everybody's going to be perfect 100% of the time. So you have to create a system where, if somebody strays, somebody's underperforming, and there is a trend, not a one off, there is a
Mm-hmm.
trend, you have a mechanism to bring that person back through a remedial training, a remedial course that this book accomplishes
Yeah.
into the fold.
Right. So, Dr. Goldman, let me ask you, do you have this book out there in many organizations, or there's a course, or what if, say, a hospital want to really take a deep dive into patient experience, patient satisfaction, because that's super important for all of us.
Absolutely.
What would you recommend, the book itself, or there's a course that you have created?
So I would recommend both. But for an organization, a healthcare system, it may be easier to use an online course, which I have, by the way,
Yeah.
on howtopatient.com.
Yeah, I've seen it. I was gonna ask you about that. How to patient, right? On that platform.
Howtopatient.com.
Yes.
On that website, I have courses for medical students, residents, nurses, nurse practitioners, practicing physicians, residents, all kinds of courses. And the courses are
Mhm.
derived directly from the book. There are videos, there's information, there are techniques, there are questions. And at the end of the course, you get a certificate that is valid for 1 year.
Right.
And that certificate can be used as proof that the healthcare provider, whether it is an onboarding healthcare provider or
Yeah.
somebody who's going through a remedial course because they're not performing well, can show their supervisor, their dean, their professor, and say, I've taken this course and I'm certified in patient experience. Okay. But as I
Wow.
said, that's not the only thing. You got to keep track of that person's performance as
Mhm.
well.
It's an ongoing thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Wow. And I guess you can't just read the book or take the course and that's it. It's an ongoing supervision, ongoing being awareness of yourself and aware of what's going on with the patient and so on and so forth. It has to be something that you have to keep doing, keep at it all the time, right? And
Absolutely.
I looked at something you posted the other day and it says it's about empathy. You said, in the realm of medicine, empathy goes beyond medical records and diagnosis. It's a profound connection comprising on or embracing each patient's mind, body, and spirit. So, talk to us about empathy. How important is empathy in medicine and in patient experience? Empathy.
It has to be at the core of what we do. Because I'm going to use the ER as an example. In fact, any part of any specialty of medicine, we see people at their worst
Mm-hmm.
when they think they have the worst thing possible. Must be the cancer, must be a heart attack, must be the
Mm-hmm.
stroke, right? At their worst. So if you don't appreciate that and understand that, yes, what they're looking for is first and foremost empathy,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm sorry to say that you may be in the wrong field because
Yes.
that is what, yes, they're looking for an explanation or a possible explanation of their symptoms. But before that, right, the thing that allows you to engage in and connect with them, and for them to trust you, it is the empathy part. Because if you don't have any empathy, no one is going to trust your recommendations. Stop
Yeah.
smoking. No
Yeah.
empathy, it ain't going to happen. Take your diabetes medication. No empathy, it ain't going to happen.
Empathy matters.
It does, because if you want people to follow your advice and listen to Dr. Goldman, Dr. Francis, you have to show them that you care. Only then will they trust you and follow your advice. So if I don't want anyone to bounce back in the ER with a bad outcome, the way I do that first and foremost is empathy. Empathy and empathy. And I can tell you, over the past 10 years, it has worked. It works. Whether it is where I work at Memorial or the other places where I've done consulting work, Alabama, wherever it is. Okay, it works. It is the absolute truth.
Yeah, empathy really matters, for real. And in your experience, I want to ask you as well, what are some of the common mistakes that you see in communication as far as nurses or other healthcare disciplines are concerned? What are some of the most common ones you see? I know no empathy is one of them. That's probably one of them.
that is one of them. The other ones are the following: being general. Everything is okay. What do you mean everything is okay? And I'm going to tell you why that's important. So I told you that my wife is a family doctor.
Yes.
So it's not uncommon for patients to come to the ER, right? My wife's patients, they come to the ER, they see me, and then they go back to my wife. And they tell my wife, oh, everything's okay. Your husband checked me for everything.
Wow.
Everything?
See what I mean? Everything.
And my wife sometimes asks him, check you for cancer? Yeah, he checked me for cancer too. In the ER? So again, it's a common thing that we do for people, right? People presume that, oh yeah, they're going to check me for everything.
Everything, yes.
But we don't specify, right, what it is that we're looking for. What is our capability in the office, in the ER, wherever it is, in the urgent care? What is our capability? This is what we can do. This is what we can check for you. And be very specific about it. So that's a common complaint. The other common complaint is lack of reevaluation, lack of updates on results, at least in the inpatient setting. People complain that the doctors, they don't come back. No one comes back to tell me anything. No one explains my diagnosis. The other one, contradiction. My doctor told me this, my nurse told me that. The ER doctor told me one thing, the cardiologist told me something else. Okay, contradiction. Absolutely. Lack of physical exam, if you can believe that. No one touched me.
Yeah.
No one touched me. No one did. I came to the
going into the room without a stethoscope sometimes.
and here's the worst. Here's the worst, Eva. The doctor documented a physical exam, Eva.
Yeah. And you wonder, wait a minute. When did you do that? I think that happens.
What?
And I'm telling you. Yep.
Exactly. So those are a few of them. There are a few more, but
and one of the things we need to really work on is when you have like multiple consultants, multiple specialty physicians, and you may have 3 or 4 different specialties, and seeing the patient, the patient is in the middle, and they hear one thing from one physician, another thing from another, and they can't put the pieces together. And where's the attending physician? The primary care physician sometimes is lost in the middle and can't, so these are some of the things why we really need to take it up a notch. We need to take it up a notch.
I talk about that. I talk about that ad nauseum in the book. That's partly why, Eva, I think that, yes, you can help people who've been practicing for 5 to 10 years, 20 years, but the way to really fix it is early on in their training. Early when they're about to finish their theoretical years and about to see patients. Right. That's when you can make the most impact. I don't know if you're aware, the Oklahoma State Osteopathic Medical School is going to be using my online training in my book.
Oh, wow. That
as
is
of next year.
amazing.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
cannot I cannot wait. Just listening to you. I haven't read the book yet, and I said I've ordered it. I can't wait to read it, of course. And I'm looking forward to see your book all over the place in
They
every
will. They
organization,
will.
hospital. And
And the way they're
you
going to
know,
do it, they're going to have the medical students go through it before they see any patients. So at the end of their second year, and also at the beginning of their fourth year. So they're going to
wow.
have to go through the course twice
That
before
is
graduating from medical school. So I'm excited about that.
Is there anything in your book for I know you address the nursing students, nurses, medical students, physicians,
Yeah.
ER physicians. What about other disciplines like dietary and environmental and everyone else? Is it they address all of us or just the main caregivers?
So the main caregivers are the ones that I focus on, but for those other non-main caregivers, I still think there is value in reading the book. And
Yeah.
I'll defer to you. I'll defer to you when you read the book. You tell me
Yep.
what you think. I can tell you that
Yes.
our CNO read the book at Memorial, and she said, "Absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely." Her words were,
Wait.
"Everyone,
Yeah.
everyone needs to read this book.
I'm
Everyone."
going to share your book once I purchase. I'm actually I've purchased. I've ordered two. I'm going to share
Thank
it with
you.
a few friends of mine who are CNOs and nursing directors in different organizations, different hospitals in South Florida, and I believe that they're going to probably be interested in that book for sure.
Thank you
What
very much.
about as far as leaders are concerned? Can is anything that nursing leadership then or senior leadership can do differently? As far as enhancing patient satisfaction and patient communication when it comes to the direct staff. What are
Great
your thoughts
question.
on that?
Great question. So I when I get asked to consult and to try to change culture at a facility, I can tell you my first focus is always leadership because without leadership, that nothing in this book happens. Nothing. So the what I asked the leadership is how much are they willing to commit to what I'm going to recommend? Because I'm going to recommend a lot of drastic things.
Yes,
What
yes.
is your level of commitment, both as an organization,
Mhm.
but
Yes,
also personally? Because I'm going to expect you not just to
yes.
round on
Yep.
patients in the nursing staff, but also to model the behavior. Most
Yes, I
important.
agree.
Kissinger Goldman cannot ask his residents to do something, right, if I'm not doing it.
Yep.
If I'm not doing it,
Mhm.
no one is going to do it. No
Mhm.
one.
Yep.
Okay. So commitment in terms of an organization, what exactly are you willing to do, but also personal commitment. Okay. And also, what tools are you willing to put in place to keep track of this? Because I get invited to some healthcare centers, and they say, "Oh yeah, Kissinger Goldman is going to come. He's going to speak about patient experience. He's going to leave, and then everything is going to be great."
Yeah.
That's not the way it works. I can tell you in 10 years doing this, there has to be a system in place after you initiate the training or you have whatever process in place. There has to be a monitoring process. Who's going to keep track of what you initiated and how are they going to address it? Okay, in the short
Absolutely.
run, but also in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. Okay, that's the part that most systems miss, the
Yeah.
long-term impact. And I can tell you, I'm very upfront with everybody.
Yeah.
I tell them, great, you want to hire me? Not a problem, but I'm going to come and do my thing and train and do this and make recommendations. But what's going to happen after is probably the most important aspect
Yep.
of the engagement. So that's what I would say about it.
Definitely.
Yes, ma'am.
What happens after is super, super important.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's amazing and it's just refreshing. All of this is coming from a physician. And a physician who's not just teaching it and preaching it, but you're living it and walking it every day because you're practicing it in the ED. And I'm sure you're looking out, making corrections and training as you go along. I'm sure you're doing that.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Dr. Goldman, we are coming down to, we have 2 minutes left, but I want to ask you if there's anything else you'd like to share with our audience, share with our nurse leaders or nurses or organizations, anything that you need to tell us about the book, because I also want to have you share how we can get the book, of course, on Amazon. And
Sure.
if we need to, if they need to contact you to speak to their nurses, have a program or a training or a conference, how can they connect with you? And by the way, we are going to have a nursing leadership conference next year, and I'm going to be talking with you because I would love for you to come and speak about this whole patient communication, patient
No problem.
experience, patient
No
engagement.
problem.
You are going to be one of the best persons to speak on this topic. So
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to that. So tell us
No
how they
problem.
can contact you to learn more about your program and what you are doing.
So I'm on a variety of social networks: Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Um, I have my own website, kissingergoldman.com.
Yeah.
The training website, if anybody wants to take a look at it, it is, as we mentioned earlier, howtopatient.com. If somebody wants to connect with me directly, my email is listed on my personal website. Um, my cell phone, I'm happy to share it with anybody. You can contact me by LinkedIn, and I'm happy to share it with you.
Yeah.
So there are a number of ways. I respond to all messages. I get a bunch of messages all day from a variety of sources. So I answer all the messages. So don't hesitate if you have a question, comment, suggestion, whatever it is. Something is unclear. You
Yeah.
want to try out the training website, the course. You want to try it out. Please reach out. I'm available. I'm open. I love doing this. I've been doing this for the past 10 years. I still enjoy it.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I am excited for you, and I'm excited to know to see what's going to happen next in the next few years when all the hospitals or all the healthcare organization get a hold of your book, Dr. Goldman Guide to Effective Patient Communication. Ladies and gentlemen, you can get that book on Amazon. Dr. Goldman, it was refreshing. It was nice talking with you. What an amazing interview. I am going to do everything that I can do to ensure that many of my colleagues or all of my colleagues get a hold of your book, get a copy in their hand. They need to go on Amazon and order that book. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. And I am going to place your website and all your information in the caption of this video. And thank you again. It was amazing speaking with you, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.